Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are listening from. This is Unapologetically Tea Podcast. Today, we're still in the recovery room. As I said before, the recovery room is a time and period where you're recovering from trauma, and not everybody has to be around you. So, today, we're going to tackle a subject called unforgiveness. That's the episode. First, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is letting go of someone that has hurt you, an event that has traumatized you, or any feelings that cause anxiety, depression, and bitterness. Unforgiveness is the opposite. Unforgiveness stems from a grudge. And you don't have the capacity to forgive. And it has been said before, unforgiveness is like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Unforgiveness holds you hostage in life. Unforgiveness holds you hostage in life. And it holds up your blessings. And what I failed to realize all these years, and even now going through what I'm going through, why I haven't been able to receive the blessings and the manifestations that is coming my way, it's because I haven't forgave people. I haven't forgive certain situations. I haven't forgave or processed these feelings that I'm feeling. I just stuffed them in a bag and, did away with them. So with that being said, holding a grudge. I think of a grudge as a cancer. Cancer starts off super small. You can heal that cancer right then and there before it grows in stages. And once it gets to the point of no return, your whole life is altered. A grudge can block you definitely from your blessings. A grudge can block you from being around other people. Even a grudge can block you from stopping your bag. Because you are held prisoner in this moment in time with this person, with this thing, with this event. It's just like in the Bible with Lot's wife, when they were escaping the city and they was told not to look back. And when she looked back, what happened? She turned into salt. And salt preserves things. Like when you seasoning your food, it preserves the flavor. It traps the flavor. So that's what unforgiveness does. It traps you. It is a trap. It's a trap. And you have to learn how to get away and escape from that trap. I know it's hard. I know there are situations where it's a little bit deeper. Maybe, you have dealt with some trauma that was sexually, that you have been raped, or watching someone get away with literally murder or abandonment. And I know it stems super deep. And you have a hard time trusting people. That's one thing unforgiveness does. you have a hard time trusting people, because if that person even exemplifies a smidgen of a behavior that other person did to you, you automatically shut down. You shut down. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want this person getting too close to me. But what you have to learn is people are there for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And you have your guard up. You do have your guard up. And that's okay, because you're still healing. But if you let this unforgiveness still consume you, then you're DOA, you're dead on arrival on a lot of things, and you're missing out on life. There are people that go to their graves with hate in their heart towards that person. I'll take this to my grave. And that's the thing that we have a problem in the Black community, of taking things to our grave and never resolving them. That person probably living their life, doing good, and you're over here bitter, still holding a grudge. So Tiff, this person really did hurt me. If I forgive them, it's going to make me seem weak. No, boo-boo. It's not going to make you seem weak. It's going to make you take back your power. I believe whenever we come in contact with people or share, whether it's friendship or relationship or even intimacy, sex, certain people leave spirits on you. And a lot of people don't believe that, but they leave certain spirits on you. And that spirit can take control of you at any given moment. So if you have this unforgiveness towards this person, that person still has control over you. When you cannot forgive, that person still has the key to your happiness. You're still held in bondage. So unforgiveness is taking back your power and saying, you know what, you're not going to hold me you're not going to hold me in this prison cell anymore. Not in bondage anymore. I forgive you. I forgive you. Those are the most powerful words you could say to somebody that has wronged you. I forgive you. That's taking back your power. The term forgive and forget. We all heard this term. You got to forgive and you got to forget. You got to forgive and you got to forget. In my eyes, I felt like forgive and forget is, I'm forgiving you, but we're going to start off on a clean slate, and I'm going to act like nothing ever happened, and we're going to be cool again. No. Forgive, but remember. I know that sounds crazy. Stay with me. I'm going to bless you. Forgive that person. But if the offense is so huge, you have to remember, because remembering sets boundaries. Now, if it's a small offense, like you had a squabble or something like that that's super petty, and you feel like your friendship or your relationship could last after that, then of course, I'm going to give you another chance. And trust me, I'm the queen of second, third, fourth, sixth, seventh, eighth chances. But if it's something so major, where it caused years of heartache, pain, distress, Forgive. But remember, meaning you can't get that close to me anymore. Not right now. Because it hurt too bad. The pain that you caused me hurt too bad. I'm forgiving you to take back my power, but here's the thing. You're not going to get close to me that again. We can still be cool. You can still love people from afar. It's a lot of people that I don't talk to anymore that I don't care not to talk to anymore. But if I see them doing good or getting, higher education or starting a business or, starting a new family, getting married, whatever, I'm going to congratulate them. I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to say, so you got that for real? That person still have you in bondage if you have that same mindset. But forgiving and remember, meaning you can love that person from afar. Meaning that, look, we ain't going to be that cool anymore, but I wish you the best of luck in your life and everything else. And I know a lot of people say that, but don't mean it. And don't say things like that and you really don't mean it. That's just being fake. You can love people from afar to protect your peace. And peace is so, so, so important in these days in the world of chaos. Unforgiveness can mess up your future. Let me say it again. Unforgiveness actually can fuck up your future. Because God has a certain way of putting you in situations where you say, I never deal with this person, ever deal with this person. And just so happen, you have to come across and work with this person. And if you still have that grudge, it could block you from your future. It is a test. It is a test. And it's a process. A process. And trust me, forgiveness is not an overnight process. It takes long time. That person could be dead or alive. And that pain is still fresh. But sometimes you gotta rip that Band-Aid off so it can get some oxygen. And when I say rip the Band-Aid off, it's hard. My therapist call it unpacking. And with unpacking is unpacking your feelings. I'm in the process of unpacking my feelings, and tonight, for the first time, I'm going to share with you people that I have not forgave, that I'm in the process of forgiving, because I'm going through life with you. Now, let's flip the subject. You may have done something to this person, to a person, and they have not forgave you. When you say, I'm sorry that I did this, don't expect for that person to press fast forward on their healing. Just like you didn't press fast forward on your healing when that person said, please forgive me, or I'm sorry. Just be prepared that you probably are not going to get that same result. You can't press fast forward on that person's healing. And you have to figure out what you done wrong in the situation on both sides. On both sides. Whether someone hurt you or you hurt them. You got to take accountability, and that's the foundation of forgiveness, is taking accountability. What did I do in this situation? But don't fall into the victim role. The victim role is so easy. They paying actors every day to play the damn victim. It's an easy fucking job to be a victim. Don't fall into the victim role and take accountability. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go into the people I have not forgave. I have a friend. We went to high school together. Cool as fuck. My best high school friend. A couple of years ago, I did something to this person. And it was out of line. It was rude. But at that time, my mental wasn't all that great. My mental was fucked up. And I hurt the one person that was truly my ride or die friend. So I called this person about, I would say, 2 years ago. On New Year's Eve. Apologized, said I'm sorry. I wasn't in the right headspace. That person said, okay, yeah, I understand. We're going to talk about it one day, so on and so forth. We have not yet talked about it. And I'm cool with it. Because that person still needs time to heal when a friend violates you or cross the line or something. And I didn't expect this person to press fast forward on their healing to say, all right, cool, we're going to go back to normal. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And even if me and this person never be friends anymore, I'm cool with it. Because I take an accountability. Now, if I would have flipped it and been the victim, I would have been like, you know what? You should have known that I was in a bad headspace. You know me all these years. Man, why can't you just forgive me? Why can't you just let this go? We've been through worse shit than this. That's falling into the victim trap. And versus saying, yeah, I was in a messed up headspace. That does not justify my actions. I'm asking for forgiveness so we can both move on. But if you don't want to move on and us not end our friendship here, that is fine. That's cool. No bad blood here. You have to let that person take time to heal. So I have my little journal here where I write down my thoughts. And whether you know or not, I prayed pretty hard how I'm going to deliver this episode because I'm going through life with you. So I wrote down, what does forgiveness mean to you? And these are my answers. Forgiveness means to be set free from the pain that's caused by others, not to be triggered by feelings of bitterness, anger, regret that sends me into a depressive state. Are there any negative thoughts holding you back from forgiving? My negative thoughts are, they're going to get away with murder. And I'm sure some of you feel like that. Or they're going to get away with murder and this thing is going to constantly haunt me. Do you have any regrets? Or what could you have done differently? And here's my answer. My biggest regret is not seeking therapy in my early years. It was seen in my Baptist family as being weak and not dependent on God. Having low self-esteem and seeking validation from all the wrong places. I was seeking validations from broken relationships. I was seeking validation from others that really didn't give a damn about me. And that was my biggest regret. I should have went to therapy after my grandmother died when I was 14. But as Maya say on Girlfriends, when Joan went to therapy, Black people don't go to therapy, they go to church. And I'm glad we live in a society where we can talk about mental illness very openly. Because sometimes church does not help. Church is a hospital, and when you go into a hospital, would you go into a hospital to try to get healed? when it's other sick people around you, that doesn't make any sense. The math ain't mathing. And I said I should have loved myself more. I should have set boundaries. I should have let people not walk all over me. And in the end, this would have spared my mental state. So I know I'm going to go into part 2 right now of the people that I haven't forgave, and also my final thoughts. I love you. Stay tuned for part 2. All right. We are back for part 2 of Unforgiveness. That is the episode. While we are here, I would like to let you know that Unapologetically T podcast is available on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio. You can listen to my previous episodes. I've been doing this thing for 2 years. And I just share, my life stories, and I'm going through life with you. So I said in the previous episode, the previous part 1, that there are some people that I have not forgave, that I'm working on, because I'm human. I am human. I'm not going to sit up here and say these people that everything is hunky-dory and everything is great. You're going to hear some cussing because it is raw emotion. So if your religious ears can't handle it, I love you. You can listen to part 1. So what I need to let go, the people that I have not forgiven. Number 1 is my ex-husband. The marriage, the divorce, and the baby. I was talking to my friend Tammy the other day, and she dropped some knowledge on me, and she told me, yeah, you probably forgave. You probably, don't want to, you're not grieving him, but you're grieving the marriage. And that hit me because, yes, in this situation in our marriage, I'm not going to go through the whole situation. Just look for my previous episodes. Let's do this dirty laundry. They'll tell you all my offenses I did in my marriage. But I thought in my mind, in my feeble little mind, that we would get through this major hump together and still be the perfect happy family. But I remember this one particular situation. We was riding down the street, and the Spirit spoke unto me and said, he's not going to be with you for a long time. I'm looking and questioning. I'm like, I said, I do, to have and to hold, to rich or for poor, death do you part. I was awake during my vows. That's another thing. I was awake during my vows. That's a whole nother episode. But I'm like, why? Why is that? And I tried to make a brick house out of frail leaves. I tried to make a brick house, a brick foundation, a strong marriage out of broken foundations. And the house of cards crumbled. In my mind, I really thought that we will actually last through everything. But that did not work. So I'm not grieving him at all. I'm grieving the marriage. And even the divorce took me through hell. because this man single-handedly broke my heart. I have never been broken down to the lowest point of my life ever. He literally tried to destroy me. He literally had me thinking that I was a bad person, that I would never, ever, ever change. And the baby. When I found out that he had a son, I was livid. You want me to be honest? I don't give two shits about that child. Because at one point in time, I was pregnant and I had a miscarriage. And I knew it was going to be a boy. And the fact that he told me he didn't want to have any more kids. He was afraid of babies. But yet and still, you have a baby with the side chick. Make it make sense. You're starting over at latter 30s while I'm going to be 40 next year. My daughter's going to be 18 in January and off to college. So I'm going to be an empty nest at 40. That ain't nothing but the grace of God. But I was so envious of him having that baby because those two robbed me of something that I really wanted. But I found a certain piece about it. Is maybe that was God's way of showing me. If we would have had brought another child into this world, the divorce would have been still going on. So that's what I need to let go. That has been my biggest tackle. And it still hurts. All of that still hurts. People I have not forgiven. Northwest Mississippi Association of Realtors. Mistreatment and betrayal. In 2016, I was working at a realtor association as communications director. I had everything that I ever wanted. I had my own office, my business cards. I was hot shit at that time. And the environment, I was the only black person there. You already know where it's going. And this is my first time ever speaking out about it, because I refuse to let this situation mute me anymore. I worked with 3 other white women. One was my boss, Amanda. We started off super cool. She really liked everything I was doing, and I built that organization from the ground up. I taught classes, I planned events, I was a spokesperson. I helped realtors, even though I didn't know jack nor shit about the real estate industry. But I was a fast learner. I was a team player. Until one day, I was being too trustworthy and open and let them know that, hey, I'm going to go get my master's. I'm going to go back and get my master's degree, my MBA that I started. Here's where it got real. If I would have got my master's and I still worked there, which I did get my master's anyway, I would have been the highest educated person in that office. And they would have had to pay me more. I saw a lot of things in that office plenty of time. Blatant racism. The Amanda and a couple of realtors being drunk off mimosas, but I didn't say anything. And I had a person that worked with me, Angela, who was so racist. She couldn't, every time she saw me, it's like she couldn't stand the sight of me. And her and those two other women, which is, and I'm going to tell you about karma, plotted against me to get me the hell up out of there. First thing they did was they moved me out of my office to the front desk. I couldn't understand why. Angela was at the front desk, and I'm like, okay, they're trying to get me up out the door. I know semantics. I'm not stupid, and I have discernment. And what she cited me on was I was not doing my job. That was not the case. And I spiraled into depression. Because I'm thinking to myself, and listen to me, and some of y'all have been in this situation where you put your blood, your sweat, your tears, your time into a job, and they treat you as disposable trash. Those people treated me as disposable trash. I did everything. Speaking at conferences, the first time me going to a conference, being on the main stage, talking about a software that realtors use that took me 6 months to learn it and teaching classes about it. I came up with a realtor safety plan, PACE. And they treated me like disposable trash. Like I didn't mean shit. And I am so sure they have blackballed me into getting back into my career. But one thing they're not going to do, they're not going to erase me from history. They would not be at the plateau that they are if it wasn't for me. I'm not being cocky, those are facts. And remember what I said about karma? When after I got fired, one of the ladies was fired for embezzling money. And one of the ladies that plotted against me, she was dealing with cancer. Y'all had so much hate for me that it caused problems for you. That make it make sense. So after I got fired, I had a nervous breakdown. I committed myself to Crestwind. Crestwind is a mental hospital. I did outpatient. Because I felt like these people did me wrong. And I've had a bitter taste in my mouth ever since that day. I can even remember when I got fired, I packed up they even had the boxes ready for me to go. That's a hurt like no other. To give yourself to a company and they treat you like disposable trash. So this is where this is going to get deep. People I have not forgiven. New Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Y'all already know what I'm going with this. Baptist kids, church hurt. Church hurt. Shit's real. Church hurt is real. Remember when I said early, when one of the things I wish I should have done is went to therapy after my grandmother passed away. But at that time, it was deemed and, frowned upon to not go to a mental hospital. And we used to make jokes, oh, you trying to end up on Poplar and Dunlap. And for those that don't know what Poplar and Dunlap is, Poplar and Dunlap is where the mental hospital, and I don't know if it's still located there, but it used to be located there, Poplar and Dunlap. Church hurt. Church hurt. Two people I'm going to call out. Karma Dean Smith, and Jeanette Young. Let me tell you about these two heifers. And for those who went to New Zion with me, I'm finna lay it low and lay this shit bare. All out. Let's start with Jeanette Young. When I say Jeanette Young is the epitome of a church person. Y'all know what a church person is. They are so heavenly bound that they ain't no earthly good. And if y'all listen to this and y'all go to New Zion, it is what it is. I'm going to say it as my platform. She is so heavenly bound that she is no earthly good. You know those folks that, they all hallelujah and this and ready to testify about all the goodness of God and everything else. And when they leave church, they mean and messy as a fucking snake. That's her. Let me give you an example. At one point in time, me and Miss Young, she was a part of my family. If you listen to my previous episodes, I was very close to my grandmother. And my grandmother served as a mother on the motherboard. And she loved Jeanette. After my mother passed away, I saw New Zion Missionary Baptist Church as my refuge, as an extension of my grandmother. They're not going to toss me away. They're not going to judge me. I grew up here. If I sin, they're going to welcome me with open arms with no problem. I was dead ass wrong. Dead ass wrong. And that's not for everybody in the church. There's certain people in the church that still welcome me with open arms. But the rest of them didn't give a fuck. Was talking about me, talking about my family, all behind our backs. And smiling in your face and saying, I'm yet praying for you. It was this one time, I'm 20 years old. I'm still singing in choir. My mom is still living. I came in, I wore this spaghetti strap dress. My boobs are not showing. I ain't trying to tempt nobody. I'm trying to sing in the choir. This woman, when I came to the choir stand, she gave me a mean snake look. And I'm thinking to myself, like, shit, I'm not offending anybody. Hell, they say come as you are. I'm not disrespecting anybody. She pulled me to the back. She told me how much she's disappointed in me, that she's ashamed of me, that I'm disrespecting my grandmama's legacy. All over a fucking dress? Really? And your grandson is a whole crackhead? But you gonna get on me about a dress? And that's what some people do when it's out of anger, is they shift their anger to the wrong person. You need to take your anger out on why your grandson was smuggling drugs at the United States Postal Service in the Navy. Who does that? You need to take that anger out on him, not on me. And I sat back there and I wept like a child. And Virginia McKinney, God rest her soul, She came back there, she hugged me and said, "Don't worry about what that heifer say. She's sitting up here, throwing stones, and she got a whole glass house that you can see through." And ever since then, I looked at that lady like, you a bitch. You a fake ass Christian. And she is the type of person that keeps people out of the church. So goddamn judgmental. That's why a lot of millennials like myself don't deal with the church. Because if you're supposed to be Christ-like, if you're supposed to be a Christian, if you're supposed to be all these things that the Bible says, then you're supposed to treat people with respect. No matter what's their race, gender, what they have on, what they believe in. You supposed to show the love of Christ. But when you got motherfuckers like this woman here, that drives people away from the church and put a bitter taste in my mouth. And not only her, it was some of the deacons too. When my mom was in the hospital, we didn't have the money to keep her. I had to argue with Deacon Valentine and Deacon Walker about the church giving us money. So yes, that church put a bitter taste in my mouth that I'm working on. And Karma Smith, her sidekick, minister of music, and the bitch can only play one note, and it's an E flat, and it's all sound crazy. She lied on me. She lied on my family. And also, she disrespected my mama. Oh, you don't disrespect mom and walk the face of the earth. Y'all already know. In the words of Coach Prime, when you disrespect mama, it gets personal. It gets personal. And everybody dealt with her bullshit, and she ran people away from that church. Being evil, being conniving. And I couldn't stand the sight of being in that church. Even on down, God rest his soul, Pastor Eddie's letting the shit go down like that. She literally destroyed New Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Her and Jeanette Young and a lot of other culprits. It was no longer a safe haven for me anymore. I looked at all those people as fucking hypocrites. That's what church hurt does. I can't go to a, why you gonna tell me to praise and serve a God when you got your servants as sheep and wolves, as sheep and wolves clothing? As wolves and sheep wolves and sheep clothing. I'm sorry. I'm mad right now. So it came to a point where I fucking hated that church. I hate the people in there. I hate the people in there. And I know hate is a strong word, but when you deal with church hurt, this is how you feel. I hated the motherfuckers in that church. Whew. Sorry. But that shit hurt, y'all. It hurt. It hurt. My mom and Irendi. This is where it's finna get deep. Who is Irendi? If you want to speak semantics or whatever, she is my maternal grandmother, but I do not claim her. She passed away, God rest her soul. Before my grandmother passed away, she told me Irendi was my grandmother. I only knew her as baby sister. I knew she had 2 other kids and she had a couple of grandkids. I remember going to this woman and asking her, "Are you my grandmother?" You know what this heifer told me? Sorry, I'm trying to kill this fly. You know what this heifer told me? I was a friend of the family. And after my grandmother passed away, she gonna tell me, now you can call me grandmother. I said, bitch, I'll never call you grandmother. Why would you even do that? You had my mom at 16, gave away to my grandmother, Lily Mae Johnson, and let me put the shit on out there for my family. Lily Mae Johnson will always be my grandmother. Fuck the dumb shit. She abandoned me. And then on top of that, that disease spread to my mom. She could not love me. She didn't know how to love me, and I'm not giving an excuse for my mother. God rest her soul. I love my mom unconditionally. My mom loved me conditionally. That's how I felt. She loved my other siblings. My brother wasn't even talking to her at one point in time for 2 years, and she loved him unconditionally. My little sister treated her all types of ways, but she loved her unconditionally. And you know, the thing that sucked was after she passed away, I was hearing from other people how much she loved me. Damn it, I wish I knew that when she was here. She was my mother, my actual mother, 2 weeks before she passed away. Out of 29 fucking years. She will only show up in my school activities unless I'm the lead of something or I'm doing something big. If it was a minor part, she was not showing up. And every day I'm fighting against myself not to be like her. That's why I love on my daughter hard as hell. I don't care if my daughter has a lead role, a minor role. She's participating. I'm there. I'm her biggest cheerleader. But not knowing how to love me. You know how that feels? To not have the person that's supposed to be your grandmother and your mother not love you, not support you. And if you look at old pictures, I look exactly like my mom. I look like damn near replica of her. And I did not know that I harbored unforgiveness against my mom because, like I said, I felt like she loved my siblings more than me. And here's the thing, if my family's watching, in the words of Nene Leakes, I said what I said, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And finally going down to family, my uncle Danny. Never establishing a relationship with me in the beginning. Danny knew about all of us. He's my Facebook friend right now, but after he probably see this episode, he probably won't. I'm cool with it. He waited till my mom got sick to establish a relationship with her and trying to establish a relationship with us. And I'm forgiving him, but here's where I'm finna do the remembering. And I'm gonna look him dead in the face if he ever sees this. I do not plan having a relationship with you. You had 38 years to get it right. I wish you nothing but the best in life. But I do not plan on having a relationship with my uncle. You knew about us. You didn't care to see about us. And now that you're getting older, now you want to make peace with God. And that's your, in the words of Tab, that's your business. Thank God you want to make peace with God. But I do not plan on having a relationship with you. I don't. I'm learning the process of forgiveness to forgive you. But I do not plan on having a relationship. I don't plan on calling you uncle. Don't expect to call me niece. You got nieces and nephews. You try to start try to build a relationship with me. But as far as Tiffany, me, Tiffany Renee Lloyd Harris, no, the door is closed. As far as the relationship, the door is closed. So those are the people that I'm in the process of forgiving. And here's my final thoughts. Forgiveness is not being weak. It is taking back your power and lifting the load of depression and anxiety. And releasing those energies back to its original source. Remember what I said with people with spirits? When they hurt you, they leave that spirit on you. Forgiveness is releasing that energy back to its original source. Here, you deal with it. Fuck it off however you like it. It will be a process, and it will take, for me, the power of God to get through this process. Like I said, it's not overnight. You can't FedEx this forgiveness overnight. It's not like, poof, you forgive this person. Baby, take your time. But don't let it consume you. Damn sure don't fall into the victim role during the process. Take your time. Take your time. Take it day by day, month by month, year by year. To the point where you see that person and you don't feel anything. You like, oh, there they go. But don't fall into the victim role as well. It's easy to fall victim. So I'm going to close this with a prayer that I wrote. In this nice little journal, I do write prayers that's bestowed upon me in my spirit. I hope y'all receive this. Father, please help me. I've been carrying this burden on my back for too long. This is part of accountability, y'all. My drinking has a hold on me, so I can escape from the pain. Pain lays with me at night. Depression wakes me up in the morning. And anxiety haunts me throughout my day. I don't want to go into this next phase in my life with this gorilla on my back. In the times my hand slips away from you, please don't let go of mine. I hope this message blessed you. We went through a roller coaster of emotions, but as I always say, I am human. And I'm going through life with you. And I'm telling you, take your time. But don't fall. Don't be a victim. And don't let unforgiveness have control over your life. There is so much life to live. So I challenge you to write down the people that you have not forgave and their offenses. Do a deep soul searching. See if there's something you have done in the situation. If that's the case, take accountability. If not, proceed as normal. Write down the emotions that you feel when this person or particular situation happens. Process it. Pray. meditate, take a walk, journal, whatever you do as far as getting to recovery. And as always, like I said, take your time. It's not going to happen overnight. And when you get to the point where you forgive, if it's something that's small that you think that you can recover from, then of course, I would say leave the door open, but crack it a little bit. Just crack it a little bit. But if it's something that is painful, that has broke you, that has caused mental distress, forgive. And remember, not remembering to haunt you, but loving that person or keeping that person afar, but not letting them get that close to you. Alrighty, so I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and as I always close, you have the right to tell your story. Don't give anyone the right to tell it for you. Peace and blessings. Aha.